Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Where's Sheldon?
Oh, he's an attendee and he's raising his little hand.
Okay, so he's here. We have a quorum. So comments from the public on closed session items. Do we have any?
Opened up the chat.
Just Sheldon.
Okay. I don't think there's anyone here besides us.
Nope.
It's just the seven of us. So, all right, we are going to go ahead to closed session.
All right.
Thanks.
See you in a few.
Adoption and approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move to adopt and approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Special recognitions, reports, and presentations, starting with student reports to the board from Grant, Kenilworth, and Petaluma Junior High School.
Great. Am I up, everybody? Okay, awesome. Hi, it's me, Amanda Gray, principal at Grant Elementary School. I am thrilled to be here to talk a little bit about Grant and highlight actually how our first day of hybrid instruction and actually the transition to distance learning for some of our students, whether they were in a different instructor or a different time frame. So I'm just here to share a little bit of that with you and take you on a journey through the Grant campus during their first day of hybrid instruction. You're going to see from some of like our signage to the arrival of students to their first departure of the day and hear from a couple staff members. You're also going to see a couple kids. I just wanted to warn you, a couple kids who are enjoying their snack outdoors socially distanced. So if you see one or two students who are being interviewed without a mask, it's because they are young students having a snack outdoors. We're following protocols, but I just wanted to say that. And I'm also here to thank every single person on this panel, because without each of you, we wouldn't be able to have our kids on campus as of yesterday. So thank you. It's been a huge group effort and everybody really working hard to make this happen, and seeing everyone yesterday really made it feel worth it. Special shout out to Liz Chacon. She's been on the Grant campus the last 2 days, supporting us and representing the district. So that's been wonderful. So I've put together a little movie for you all so that you could really get the experience of being there as much as you possibly could. So I think, yeah, Ashley's got that for us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's the first day of hybrid instruction at Grant School and in the whole district, and we are so excited to start the day. Join us on our journey through day one.
We have been very excited to welcome back students to Grant. You can see by our marquee, signs up all around the school, and our newsletters that we cannot wait to have our kids back learning in hybrid. At all of the entrances today, we have our easels and fun celebratory balloons welcoming each grade level at their designated entry and exit point. We also had some delicious treats for our staff, compliments of myself and Miss Shantina. Yum. One of the greatest parts of being back on campus is seeing our fellow co-workers here at Grant. We've got all of our PPE and we have our signage up and ready to go in order to ensure the safety protocols that we have laid out in our safety plan, including social distancing, restrooms, and of course our safety tents just in case students do have symptoms. Morning was filled with all kinds of excitement, but not just excitement, also some nervousness to come back to campus after being away for so long. Take a look at some of the feelings and some of the images from this morning as students arrived at school.
I'm Kieran. I'm excited to play with my friends.
Yay! Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, they're going in.
Bye, Dad.
Okay, remember which direction to go.
Yeah.
They know.
Bye, Dad. Love you. Bye, Mom.
Bye, love you guys. Don't forget to meet right here, okay?
Scared to start school, but really excited.
Oh, we're so excited you're here.
Feel awesome, and I'm excited.
Once the day got started, we got way more comfortable being back at school, getting into our old routines and learning new ones as well. Check out some of the fun activities and teaching and playground activities that were happening on campus on the first day of hybrid instruction at Grant.
Trying to figure out what, close, 6 feet is, so.
Oh, that's so great.
I know.
Good
Come on
morning,
in, guys. Look
kindergarten
at-
students. It's
Look at-
so
we have
nice to
Miss
see you.
Shantina, and we have Miss Gray.
Hi,
Shoemaker.
everyone. Oh, nice measuring.
I know. Oh, we're gonna be so good at measuring.
Well,
This is
that's
fantastic.
4-2.
4-2, yeah, and then I'll teach you how to read the tape, because that's important to know how to do it. Yeah, the tape measure, we just call it the tape,
In the front of your folder, right? That's your cover page. Well, this is our old cover page. This talks about distance learning. We're not in distance learning anymore. So I want you to take that out. Go ahead and take yours out, Reese. Take that out of the front. Go ahead, do that now. Find your green folder.
Social distancing in style. Okay, 4th grade. Hi, Piper. Hi, everybody.
Something exciting about being back at school is you can see your friends and not be stuck at home and actually get outdoors.
Excited about for being at Grant and not distance learning is that you don't have to look at screens as much as you do in distance learning.
Something I think that is positive about not being on Zoom anymore and doing real school is you get to see your friends. And school is actually only 3 hours and kind of a little less, 2.5.
That's positive about being at school is that it's way easier because you can actually talk to your teacher.
One thing positive about being at school is not having to stare at a screen all day instead of being actually here.
The reason I'm excited is because that I get to be with all my school friends and have snacks here every day.
I get to see our teacher.
You're excited to see your teacher? How about you, Bella?
I'm so excited, Miss Square happy.
Oh, yay! We're so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be back at school because I can see my friends, my teacher, and have a nice school day without being on Zoom.
Why?
Because we're back in our classrooms. Duh.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be back to school because I'm happy to see my teacher, my classroom, and maybe even some of my friends. I'm very grateful to be back at school. I'm so excited to be back at school because I really like my teacher and seeing my classmates, and I also like exploring the classroom.
Casey, what's it like to be back on campus?
Oh, I love being back on campus. We're having so much fun, and it's the kids are having a good time, and it's lovely.
Yay!
While the majority of the Grant students are participating in hybrid instruction on campus, several of our students are participating in distance learning. A few of our teachers here at Grant are teaching distance learning cohorts, 2 to just Grant students, 1 to 6th graders district-wide, and several of our students are participating in cohorts taught by district teachers responsible for teaching students from all over the district.
I'm looking forward to meeting new friends from different schools and my new teacher. I'm looking forward to having a new teacher, but I'm gonna really miss Miss Beavers.
It felt fantastic to wrap up our first day of in-person learning here at Grant School. We had a wonderful time together. We learned a lot about the protocols and routines that we needed in place to stay safe, and we are excited to see each other again tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon.
was your day?
It was actually, it was really good.
It was?
Yeah, it was more fun. Yeah, it was funner than Zoom.
What did you like about it?
I liked that we got to do work in person, got to actually talk to people, and not have to talk on Zoom or in breakout room. It was a little bit weird, but it's definitely much better to be back at regular school.
So glad. All right, guys, how was your first day back?
Good.
First impressions?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
Being inside. Well, at least trying to see people.
Yeah.
You get to be back in school instead of being on Zoom.
Totally.
And you don't have to unmute every time you want to talk.
That's true. You can just open your mouth and say things. For your first day. Great job. Great job.
Having kids back on campus, wow, it was amazing to be teaching in real life with real human beings. And I'm exhausted, but it was so wonderful. And so great to see those smiles.
Hi everyone, so glad that everyone was back on campus today. We missed seeing all the kids, so it was great to see them in person. And I know underneath their masks there were big smiles. So happy to see everyone back.
It was so great to see students today. Actually, hearing the sounds of students on campus today made every bit of the hard work that we did so worth it. It was such a great day.
We hope you enjoyed adventuring through the first day of hybrid learning with us here at Grant School. Thank you to everyone for all of your support with getting our PPE ready, help getting our safety plans organized, and we know it's just been a huge effort on the district's part to make this happen for us. So thank you. We are so excited for the next 8 weeks, and go Shamrocks!
You made me
Yay!
cry. That brought tears to my eyes. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Me too. If I hadn't watched it so many times.
Caitlin this time.
Yeah,
we're
I
both
just
tear
like
jerked.
at one point because oh man.
It's
Yeah.
pretty inspiring to hear it all together and to be around them again. So thank you for watching, and thank you again to every single person who I can see on the screen, and I'm sure tons of people who I can't see, for making it possible, because it was a complex process that took a huge community effort. But I hope now that you see that, you can feel how worth it was. So it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It was a
Yeah.
great video. I appreciate it.
Great.
Wonderful.
Any questions? If you can,
Thank you, Amanda. I mean, that was the perfect way to start the meeting.
Yeah.
So sweet. And I also just want to thank you for putting that together so quickly. Wow.
Yeah. Very much.
Also, shout out to Jason Sutter, who gave me a tutorial on iMovie, which is how anything really happened this year. So thank you, Jason. And yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
I also want to thank everyone here on this panel, minus the board members. Sorry, guys, but everyone here, they did the work every day. So thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Anything
you,
else?
guys.
We have an incredible district office.
We do.
Yes.
Yes. It took every single person to make this happen. So yeah, that's it from Grant for now.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next up is Kenilworth.
Hello, I am Ethan Chapin, and I am a student. I am a leadership student at Kenilworth.
Hi, my name is Jarek Aguilar, and I am a leadership student at Kenilworth Junior High.
In January and March, we have had some trees split due to high winds. Luckily, there hasn't been any damage to buildings. Our grounds crew has been able to catch up on all of the bigger exterior maintenance issues that have been accumulating across the district. Even the rose bushes are getting purred.
Pruned.
Kenilworth staff members have been writing nice notes to honor students' distance learning through the use of KJHS postcards.
Teachers continue to get creative with student encouragement. Teachers often start Zoom classes early to hang out with students. Some teachers even have often gotten creative with their backgrounds. PE teachers are continuing to dance with students even through distance learning on their dancing skills.
On the left, Miss Street reviews angels and other mathematical concepts with her students. On the right, Mr. Stolpe shows his class the video of Miss Gorman performing and reading Earthrise.
Dion has taken over for our head custodian, Tony, for some time while he is away. He has done a great job filling in Tony Baca's big shoes.
The Kenilworth neighbors installed a new fence next to the softball field. They even gave us the nice side and covered all the expense.
Teachers continue to organize materials for our monthly collection/distribution days.
Our leadership students were very excited to participate in the Valentine's drive-through. It was the first time they have been allowed to participate in a school-related function. During 2020 and 2021 school year, students danced for cars, waved to students and their families, and handed out boxes of jelly beans, cookies, and chocolate roses. Our ASB officers also distribute KJHS wearing during a March drive-through.
Our school counselors and special education teachers have been very busy attending transition meetings for our incoming 7th graders.
We are prepared for hybrid learning. Appreciate air scrubbers have been placed in every installed into classrooms that do not have a stink. Students will accept to wash their hands before every class. All of our HVAC systems have been cleaned with new filters installed.
Many teachers have had the opportunity to get vaccinated before they return to the classroom.
Science, math, and English teachers work hard to finish up Casp testing with their students prior to spring break.
Numbers have been painted on the blackout basketball courts 6 feet apart as physical education prepares for teaching students in person who are not used to the lineup routine.
Many staff members have completed special training to allow them to use Clorox wipes to clean their classrooms.
Signatures gone up on the sides of the campus in an effort to keep people from walking through our blackout. It's going to be a big shift for our neighbors who have developed a habit of walking along the back of our campus.
Mr. O shows the custodians what he expects to see as foot markers outside of our bathrooms. At least the tape contains the KJHS colors. We're also working on placing markers outside the classroom.
In March, students and families were allowed to come on campus with their families in order to better acquaint themselves with the layout of our school site. It has been nice to see people excitingly walking around the campus again.
The rolling flexi walls and teacher desk berries have arrived and set up classrooms for hybrid instruction.
Thank you, Jarek and Ethan.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a lot going on there. Yeah. Anyone have any questions? No? All right, thank you. All right, we are going to move on to Petaluma Junior High School.
Kelly, I'm not seeing Grace and Katya.
They should be here.
I do see someone with the same last name.
Okay, go ahead and pull that person in, please. We can just get started then.
Okay.
Our leadership students did a video for you just to let you know what's going on since the last time we saw you.
Greetings. My name is Grace and I would like to introduce Petaluma Junior High. Petaluma Junior High is proud to represent kind, creative, and smart learning individuals. In the following, you will learn a little.
Sorry, I'm just gonna let it buffer for 1 second.
A bit about our school ethic and how we handle distance learning, and our upcoming schedule. Thanks. Now on to Amelia.
Greetings. Hi, my name is Amelia. Today I will be telling you about how we are moving to hybrid learning. On April 19th, we will have our first day of hybrid learning. The PGHS community is very excited for this transition. All of our awesome teachers have been working super hard to get their classes ready for hybrid. See you on April 19th. Now, here's Jaden.
Hey guys, it's Jaden here, and today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my favorite class activity this year. In my science class, we created cars out of all different materials and then followed by doing a really fun lab. This was by far my favorite activity this year.
Hello, it's Sabrina here to tell you something fun I have done in class. So in my English class, at the end of every unit, we write an essay on either the book we were reading or the main focus of that unit. But this time, instead of writing an essay about the book, we all wrote editorials and submitted them to the New York Times editorial writing contest. Now, I thought this was super fun because we had a lot of freedom to choose our sources and we had like 400 different topics to choose from. I think it was really fun and I really enjoyed it. And now we're passing it on to Ava.
Thanks, Sabrina. Hi, I'm Ava, and something fun I've done was in my science class. It was where we were in breakout rooms with other people, and we would solve answers on a Google slide for a code, and we'd move on, and eventually we would get to the end. Then it would be a solved mystery. Okay, That's it. Now to Olivia.
Hi, my name is Olivia, and something fun that I've done in one of my classes recently was make a car using a butter box and wheels in my science class. And it moves using a balloon. Thank you.
Hey Bantams, I'm Gabby, and I just wanted to inform you guys that Mr. Klemenach, our music teacher, will be leading a music cohort, which means all you music students can now come into the campus and play instruments in person. Thank you.
My name is Maddie. I just wanted to tell you that in my leadership class, we create stickers and Instagram posts in Canva, and I think it's really fun.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed and have a good day.
Very charismatic young ladies. I love the energy.
They're great. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing those guys back on campus next week, just like the little guys.
Yeah, and they just gave tours to our incoming 7th graders and our new 8th graders, and they were just as enthusiastic. And that happened yesterday.
Oh, nice. All right. Any questions? Anyone? No? All right. Thank you, Kelly. All right. So we're going to move on to Petaluma Arts Center Climate Action Now presentation.
Can you guys hear me? Hi everybody. It's really awesome to see all of you. It's been a year since I've seen everybody. I'm Leslie Eyrig, a former Grant school teacher, former PCS educator, and I'm really excited to be here today as a part of Petaluma Arts Center. So I'm recently a board member, and I'm here to tell you about our Earth Day activities and things that are going on. This year, the theme for Earth Day is Restore Our Earth. And the Petaluma Arts Center is sponsoring an Earth Day project, including all of our Petaluma community. Recently, the Petaluma Arts Center received 8 new artworks from local artists showing the images with words describing an action that one can take to solve climate change. The final images are going to be enlarged and located on the exterior of the Petaluma Arts Center. And they'll be turned into lawn signs, posters, postcards, t-shirts, similar to the Get Out the Vote campaign that happened last election cycle. Some of you may have seen those signs around Petaluma. In addition, the Arts Center has an ongoing event called the Talking Fence, and that's encouraging our community to think globally and act locally. Banners and signs are being created to fill out the fence opposite the Petaluma Arts Center with positive Earth-related messages. The third thing that's happening involves all of the Petaluma City Schools elementary school students. So we're going to have some kids tell you tonight about how every child in Petaluma School District has had the opportunity to engage in a local climate awareness action.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Mortensen. It's great to see everyone. I'm also a freshly retired teacher. Hey there. And I'm here to introduce a couple wonderful McDowell Monarchs. Brianna Zapata, who's a 3rd grader in Ms. Werner's class, and Kevin Carreño Ortiz, who's a 6th grader in Mrs. Costello's class. And they're going to tell us a little bit about this seed paper project. Believe it or not, this paper has seeds in it. And that's available for all Petaluma City Schools TK through 8th grade students. And so Kevin, take it away.
Good evening. Every student in Petaluma City Schools has received a sheet of handmade wildflower seed paper from the Petaluma Arts Center.
On this paper, students may either write a message or create a drawing of an action that will take to help our planet. Examples: be the change, walk more, drive less, choose Earth, plant a tree.
Then students will plant the seed paper and monitor as the seeds grow into flowers. They will also take photos of the progress of the flowers growing. Students will share the photos with their teachers, who can then share them with the Art Center using Google Drive.
Seeds may be planted at home or at school, whichever works best. Teachers may use this project as a class assignment or simply hand it out for students to plant on their own. Thank you all for joining us.
All right. Thank you to the McDowell students for joining us tonight on this this opportunity to share this project with you. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the Petaluma Arts Center is having some events coming up. This Saturday on April 17th and on Earth Day from 3 to 6, the Arts Center is putting on an Earth Day presentation, combination activities where we're partnering with 350 Petaluma to actively engage our community in an ambitious campaign to raise awareness of how we can mitigate climate change and to think globally and act locally. The event will include a drum circle led by Kim Atkinson from 3 to 4 p.m., followed by climate change poetry slam at 4:30. Throughout the afternoon, all community members are invited to participate in a variety of ways to express creative messages and raise awareness and inspire our community to address the climate crisis. From making postcards, pledging to the planet on this, either on the postcards or on the seed paper, we'll have more seed paper available, to creating sidewalk chalk art, painting posters for the social sculpture called the Talking Fence. And just so everybody knows, the Petaluma Arts Center is located at 230 Lakeville Street, right by the train station. Everybody's invited. We will have social distancing. Of course, it'll be outside, but we're excited to involve the Petaluma City School District because Mark and I both come from Petaluma City Schools. So anyway, we're really excited to be here tonight, and I'm excited I got to rope Mark into this project.
I just, what time on April 17th?
April 17th, this Saturday from 3 till 6, and then on Earth Day, April 22nd from 3 till 6 as well.
Thank you.
Brianna and Kevin, have you guys seen your flowers start to grow at all? Or do you still have them as paper drawings?
We still have them. I still have mine as paper drawing.
Very cool.
Are you going to put it at school or at home?
At home.
So you can watch it, huh? Thank you so much. You guys were great. It's such an inspiring project. I was really happy to see both of you students, talk about the project. You did a great job.
Yes.
I also want to commend the Arts Center for, kind of modeling a really great project that's community-based, that's collaborative, bringing in all of our kids, TK through 8. I just love that you thought in that way and that you brought everybody in, you brought us in. It's a lot of work, and I just want to commend you. That's something I hope we can continue to do, to build these relationships.
Well,
it's really, I'm inspired. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. I also wanted to just say that Lisa Demetrios, who is a she's a former grant school parent. She's on the board with me. She kind of spearheaded this whole project. Her daughter Sonia is a freshman, I think, this year at Petaluma High School, and she sponsored this event. And I just was the kind of the conduit out to all of you guys, because I know all of you guys, but I'm really excited that she thought of it as just being something for a few kids, and we really spread it out to include everybody. So we're really excited about that part. Yeah. So thanks for having us tonight. It's exciting to see all of you guys, and thank you for supporting the Arts Center.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I echo Maddie. I love these community collaborations with the district. So
me too, especially in the arts.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Moving on, Mr. Harris. I think you have the next two items, so I'll let you go ahead.
Sounds good. Mark Mortensen and Leslie Eyrig are just wonderful, hard act to follow. So this, we've got a couple announcements, just to sort of official announcements. First one here is for our new Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Jason Sutter. Pleased to announce that effective July 1st, Jason Sutter is being appointed to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. For the past 2 years, Jason has served Petaluma City Schools as the Director of Educational Services. His care and dedication to the students and staff of Petaluma City Schools has been and will continue to be an asset to the entire district. Throughout this time, Jason has demonstrated incredible skill at reaching high impact, student-focused decisions through the engagement of diverse groups of constituents. Before joining the team at Petaluma City Schools, Jason was the principal at Prestwood Elementary School in the Sonoma Valley Unified School District, and prior to that, principal at our own McNear Elementary School. Throughout his 24 years in public education, Jason has served as a teacher, principal, a director, staff developer, and a regional coordinator. He received his bachelor's degree, teaching credential, administrative credential, and master's degree from Sonoma State University. Jason fully understands the day-to-day challenges that we face as a district. He brings a strong skill set to human resources and his ability to coach adults through the change process and to build consensus when making decisions. Jason leads through collaboration. He believes in clear and open communication to build productive working relationships. He sees opportunities instead of challenges, and he brings a strong belief in supporting our diverse staff and putting students first. I could not be more excited that Jason is moving into the role of Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Congratulations, Jason.
Congratulations, Jason. We're thrilled.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jason. All right, so next we have another very special announcement here. New Director of Educational Services for Esmeralda Sanchez Mosley. Thank you for joining us tonight, Esmeralda.
Welcome to the
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
So we are very pleased to announce the selection of a new Director of Educational Services, Petaluma City School District, Esmeralda Sanchez Mosley, who will assume her duties on July 1st. Esmeralda has 22 years of experience in education and has spent the last 12 years serving as the principal of Flowery Elementary School in the Sonoma Valley Unified School District. Esmeralda has been successful at working with stakeholders across the district to support professional development, innovation, and collaboration. Her experience includes a focus on multilingual learners and creating culturally sustaining environments that prepare students for a global society. Esmeralda has led many district-wide working groups in furtherance of their dual language master plan and supporting the vertical articulation of language and standards throughout the grade levels. As a bilingual and bicultural educator herself, Esmeralda has the ability to bring diverse groups of people together to work towards doing what is best for our diverse students. Esmeralda will bring a depth of understanding and experience to our district, always leading with a focus on students and best first instruction. She values relationships and understands the importance of listening and distributing leadership in order to build a shared understanding. Esmeralda has a collaborative approach and holds dignity and respect at the center of all her interactions. When asked why Petaluma City Schools, Esmeralda responded that PCS has a great reputation for being a well-managed district, and she wants to be part of our collaborative team, where teachers and staff are valued and leaders are empowered to be innovative. Esmeralda believes that we must be purposeful with the instructional day and that every minute counts when students are in classrooms. Esmeralda earned a bachelor's in science and sociology from Santa Clara University, a master's in arts and education leadership from California State University, Sacramento. She holds both a multiple subject teaching credential, a bilingual cross-cultural language and academic development BCLAD in Spanish, and a clear professional administrative credential. Esmeralda is dedicated to and passionate about education, and she will bring her heart, knowledge, and expertise to our district. She's approachable, visible, responsive, and she'll listen to all stakeholders. Esmeralda is committed to leading with purpose and clarity and can't wait to roll up her sleeves and work side by side with the teachers, staff, parents, and students of Petaluma City Schools. Esmeralda, her husband, Stephen, and their 2 children, Maya and Mateo, are excited to join our community. Congratulations, Esmeralda, on becoming the next Director of Educational Services for Petaluma City Schools.
Welcome. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you so much. I couldn't be more excited to join the team in Petaluma, and it's been wonderful just the little bits that I've listened to tonight and hearing from the schools and from the students, and really excited. Can't wait for July to get here. So thank you so much.
Good. And while Esmeralda's official first day is July 1st, she will be joining us for our board study session in the next several weeks. So thank you, Esmeralda.
Thank you. Oh, you have the next one too, Matthew.
You guys are gonna get tired of me here. All right. Let me put this. Okay. All right. So this next item here, have a presentation on diversifying our workforce. I'm here to talk through this presentation, here to share with you an important challenge that we've been exploring in the HR department related to workforce diversity, and to suggest addressing this challenge as one of the district's key priorities moving forward. So I want to start by just really appreciating Rochelle Bushman here, who helped make this presentation happen. Thank you, Rochelle. She's on the call, I know. Okay. So here, as a district, we need to begin seriously exploring this question. How might we ensure our workforce best represents the diversity of our student body? So why are we asking this question? About 1.5 years ago, a lot of you may remember there's a community-wide forum with some students. I was there as well. It prompted the question about diversifying our staff here to really reflect the student body. We wanted to take a look at where we are and where we need to go to make our district reflect our students. District partnered with Circle Up to review our HR policies and practices to reflect on how to increase the hiring and retention of our staff of color, which led us to do an analysis of our demographic data, looking at staffing compared to student body demographics. I want to make it really hyper clear just from the very beginning, before we even get into the data, that first of all, we highly value all of our current staff. And this is not a commentary on the work anyone's been doing up to this point. And while we want to maintain the strength of our staff as it exists, we also want to just be conscious of how we improve our recruitment, hiring, and retention efforts to make sure that we're serving all of our students equitably. We aren't going to solve this problem tonight, unfortunately. I do want to share with you what we've learned and the direction that I believe we need to go in so that we as a district can make this a priority. Tonight's about bringing you all into the challenge and naming some of the work ahead of us. So this is really just the beginning, asking these questions. We won't have all the answers. Sometimes stating the problem is a powerful first step and helps us move towards a collaborative solution. So let's start by grounding ourselves in one of the big reasons that this matters in the first place, student achievement. We all know that test scores are not by any means the only measure of student success. There's one easy data point that we can pull that illustrates a disparity that we also find in other areas, including things such as discipline, attendance, school climate, etc. So this is our 2018-19 Casp summative testing data. This is district-wide data, so elementary, I think 8th grade and 11th grade. As you can see here, one of the biggest opportunity gaps exists between our white and Asian students as compared to our Hispanic, Latinx students and African American students. Same thing here. Now that we see the pattern repeating itself in our English language arts data, fundamentally, we want to address this disparity. So, and I should address too why 2018-19 data, that's the last year that we have full data set to pull from. Okay. So one important level or one important lever that we can pull here is to make a change, to make this change is workplace diversity. So again, not the only impact, but it's an important one. So here we see that from the slide, a growing body of research showing that students of color do better when they have at least one teacher of the same race. These teachers can be role models for students of color. They've been shown to have higher expectations and a better cultural understanding of these students. A diverse teaching workforce can also benefit all students by exposing them to people from different backgrounds. Yet the teaching workforce in the United States remains predominantly white, even as the student body grows increasingly diverse. Study taken from the Urban Institute. Got some more. Oops. Oh no, sorry, going right to it. Okay, here. So next, what does the research say? There's mounting evidence that same race teachers are beneficial to underrepresented minority students on a number of contemporaneous dimensions, such as test scores, attendance, course grades, disciplinary outcomes, and expectations in a variety of educational settings. The benefits of same race teachers for Black students extend to long-run educational attainment, and thus contribute to closing stubbornly persistent attainment gaps. And also implicit bias is closely related to racial gaps in teachers' perceptions. Again, these were taken from these studies, which is why it names a particular race of Black students' performance and behavior in class and their expectations for future educational success. So here, as Jim Collins says in his seminal work, Good to Great, taken from the Stockton Paradox, retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. So here we see currently there is a large mismatch between our the workforce demographics and our student demographics in Petaluma City Schools. So here we see our 2020-21 student data. So if we look district-wide throughout Petaluma City Schools, all of our schools, so approximately 7,500 students, we see that 54.9% of our students identify as white, 34% of our students identify as Hispanic or Latinx, 5.5% identify as multiple, 2.7% as Asian, 1.2% of our students identify as African American, 0.7% as American Indian Alaskan Native, 0.6% of our students identify as Filipino, 0.3% of our students identify as Hawaiian Pacific Islander, and 0.1 we have of missing data. So in contrast to our student body, we see that 91% of our certificated staff self-identify as white, 4.3% of our staff, of our certificated staff, self-identify as Hispanic or Latinx. So that means 424 out of 466 certificated teachers self-identify as white, and only 20 self-identify as Hispanic or Latinx across the whole district. 15 of our staff members identify as Asian American Pacific Islander, and 3 of our certificated staff members identify as African American. When we look at our classified staff members, the mismatch is only slightly smaller, with 74.6% self-identifying as white, 13.7% self-identifying as Hispanic, 23 self-identifying as AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander, 4 as African American. And when we get to our administrator data, the same trend is seen here at the administrator level. 94.4% of our administrators identify as white, 2 as Hispanic or Latinx, and 1 as Asian American Pacific Islander. The bottom line here is that too many of our Petaluma City Schools students never get to experience having a teacher that looks like them or whom they can relate to on a cultural level. Many of our students, in fact, all of our students across the board, don't get to see enough examples of leadership from staff members of color in our school district, and we can do better. We must do better. As the research shows, increased staff diversity across the board benefits all students, especially those that are most often left behind. So this won't be an easy or quick fix. Changing this is going to require a change in behavior across our system. So we can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. I want to reiterate, this problem is no way an indication that we value our teachers who identify as white any less. We are starting with so much strength in our district and we will always hire the most qualified candidates into positions. We need to find both and solutions to this problem. We need to both support and retain our current staff and recruit, hire, and retain more staff of color into our system whenever possible. Even at this moment in time, we have several positions open at EdJoin. We need to raise the awareness of how we're going to go about filling these positions to ensure better equity in representing our students. So I come back to this question, and I'm sharing this with you now, and just to make public this goal to build a workforce of the future that truly represents the diversity of our student body and raise awareness. We have some real barriers in place that make this difficult. In general, nationwide teacher shortage. Within that shortage, even lower percentages of new teachers of color. High cost of living in Sonoma County. Moving to this area is very challenging from other places in the country. So we move forward by examining our current practices and best practices of other districts around the country who have had success in this area. We need to know more about the root causes of the problem so we can address them. We need to ask ourselves why we're in this situation, be honest with ourselves about what we learn. We've got lots of options for how we organize this work moving forward, and the work is just getting started. What we do know is that this goal will be a priority moving forward, and as we continue to keep our community updated with the progress. So some ideas that we have discussed. I know that we're having a board study session talking through dual language immersion, which can typically naturally bring some teachers of color to our workforce. The way that we market our positions, the way that we actively retain staff of color. Also talking about housing, partnering with a housing land trust of Sonoma County. What other options are there out there for us? Talk about Casa Grande High School, anecdotally, has a high percentage of teachers who are actually students at the school. Why is that? How can we support interested high school students in their career paths towards becoming teachers and sort of taking a long-term view to this? We don't have the answers yet, and there are no easy solutions, but we're committing to commit to the change. Thank you for listening. And that's the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Matthew. That was great and very eye-opening.
Thanks, Matthew. I found it really informative. You know, one of the most popular excuses that districts have about this disparity, because we're not the only ones, that just about every district is facing this, is that the pool isn't diverse enough, you know, essentially pushing the constraint, the problem back on the population that we're trying to recruit. And instead, I've seen some districts take a more proactive approach to build a pipeline, a teacher pipeline from their own district back to their district, especially among their diverse students. I think SFUSD may have done this with local colleges, but you know, one of the great advantages we have here is we've got Sonoma State in our backyard. I wonder if we can explore that possibility. I'll bet we have kids in our own district who want to be teachers and who would love to stay in this area. I'll bet there are a lot of teachers that we have right now who come from Petaluma. And so I'd love to explore that idea of building that pipeline. You know, let's build that pool ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, I like it.
Are we currently like recruiting outside of this area, outside of Sonoma County?
Some of our positions we fly in, like AXA, EdCal, CASBO, statewide publications, trying to attract from outside. Yes, I think we could do more too.
EdJoin.
It's always on EdJoin, all of our positions, yeah. And that's sort of teachers know that's where you go to find jobs as well. So
I'm just wondering, I don't know if you know this, if this is just like a Petaluma issue, or if there's other like districts in like Santa Rosa, Novato, I don't know, other places, are they seeing these same types of huge disparities that we have?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty pervasive. It's
it's linked with, I mean, both the teaching profession, you know, being attractive, you know, in the white community, but also the relative less access to college among minority populations. This is systemic across districts.
Yeah.
This is not unique to Petaluma City Schools by any means.
I think when Matthew hit on a really important piece, and then Sheldon followed up on it. Your best bet is a really strong offense on this, and what I mean by that is you start to work with people as early as you can that have an interest in the profession, and you groom them, you know, and mentor them, get them into, you know, work with them through programs, give them opportunities, and then you're, you know, to develop some type of a feeder pool, because the reality is, because everybody's fighting for the same exit employees, just standard run-of-the-mill employees, you have to be able to have some that have already committed and want to be with you before that. Otherwise, you're really in a difficult spot. And so, I think that there are some unique partnerships that still can be forged out there with different programs to bring folks, at least to give them more exposure. You know, the more you can get candidates to be exposed to your community and your district, the greater the chances are that you can recruit them.
Don't most of our teachers come from Sonoma State anyway? Like, are we looking at other
Dominican?
like
North Coast,
other
Sonoma
places?
State, Dominican, San
UC
Francisco.
Davis, we get quite a few. San Francisco State,
Dominican?
a large
like-
majority from those local schools. Chico State. quite
We
a
get
few.
very few really from outside of the valley, though. So that's problematic.
So is there any, talking about a pipeline, is there any connection through the junior college between Sonoma State? It seems like that's where, I mean, a lot of our kids go to the junior college. They don't go directly to a four-year school.
Well,
And
I think
I've taught many students that wanted to be teachers. I don't know whether they became teachers, but it's interesting that that seems to be this, like, there's nothing there, because, you know, and there could be.
That's a good point, because I know so many people who attend Sonoma State, they're not from here. They're from
the challenge has always been with the junior colleges is that junior colleges have not, as a group, run teacher education cohorts. That's not been necessarily the way that, maybe that might change, and, California is unique because California doesn't do a program, doesn't by nature do a program that allows students to go through and build your credential into your bachelor's degree. That hasn't been the practice. The practice has been a +1 or a +2. Do your bachelor's degree and then go to a credentialing program. Whereas other states, you literally can start in teacher education classes in your freshman year. I don't know if that'll change moving forward, but there isn't a pipeline from the JC to the 4 years to us per se.
What about the program at SCO? Is that a very diverse group of candidates, or?
SCO's group is the North Coast is a very different group of candidates. And it's a pot. Yeah, we hire folks through that program. The candidates are more likely to be older, more likely to be going into their second career. And it is designed for you to be able to work and do the program at the same time.
Or be an intern, right? They have
And so it's filled a particular need around special education in the immediate, that's been kind of one of our immediate challenges, and it's still growing. That program is growing.
Another factor that we can't really control, but might impact things, is Petaluma and Sonoma County, just in the last like 4 or 5 years, are starting to be a place that young professionals actually want to live, not just folks already with a family or trying to establish a family. I mean, when I moved back here after undergrad, there were no other people in their 20s, or like it was the people I already knew. Whereas now, I actually meet new people that are new to Petaluma, that are younger and are doing different careers. So, maybe, I don't know what that would look like for recruitment, but I think that there are more people that are coming in from outside already.
Definitely.
I mean, we talked about recruitment, but then there's the retention piece. Like, if you can't just like throw diverse people into these environments, especially you're talking about 97 or something % of our admin, are white, or I don't know how, especially if they have staff that are not diverse, they might not have experience leading diverse staff. So, I mean, if we're really going to do this, we have to do it in tandem with continued PD and cultural awareness training. We don't want to just throw people in. They're like, all right, your problem solved.
Right.
Diverse.
Well, and it's also
Make it
not
a safe
just,
environment for them.
It's not just teachers, it's also admin. I mean, it's across the board. It's teachers, classified, admin.
Thank you for committing that, Matthew.
Yes. It was very eye-opening and a little.
There's several pieces to the pipeline. Some of them are really resource intense, like, we could incentivize minority candidates at Sonoma State to, earn a senior getting a bachelor's degree. Hey, consider a teaching credential. We can guarantee a job at the end of that. Those are resource heavy and take a lot of careful planning, and we can do those things. But some of the things we can do now is, have our teachers identify students that we have in high school right now and say, you know what, you would be a great teacher in 10 years.
Exactly.
You should really think about that profession.
Yeah, maybe we could have some kind of a program, in those junior and senior years along the lines of our small learning communities. Nothing is towards teachers. Maybe have something that's just really more, if you're interested in this, having them be able to go to a classroom, in our district as a student, and be able to sit in a classroom or watch a classroom, see what a day in the life of is like. It's a job shadow that we do for every other profession, and we don't do it for teachers, as far as I know.
Except we'd never get any English teachers that way. I don't want to grade.
No.
7.
I think you and I were pretty entertaining.
Yeah. We were.
Anyway, just an idea that maybe we can think about that in terms of building that into our curriculum. Maybe as an after school, I mean, it's like HOSA, super successful, have something that provides that for kids that want to be teachers.
Yeah,
having be dynamic.
I like that idea of, we have all kinds of different specialty areas that kids can go in. Why not teaching? Why not education?
Yeah, it's left off of the whole, career tech.
Yes.
I think those are like some good long-term solutions, but then we also should be thinking short-term as well. Like, I mean, I don't even know, like, what's Petaluma's reputation? Do people want to come work here? Like, compared to other places that are, like you're saying, are more diverse? Like, my brother works in Oakland, like, he would never leave his district. Like, so just looking at that as well, like, what are the current climates on campuses for diverse teachers and possible administrators as well?
Mhm. Definitely.
Anyone else? Anything else?
Thank you, Matthew. That was excellent.
Matthew,
Go
do
ahead.
you have any, an action plan? Or I know, just as an example, like in my college at school, we have a DEI plan that includes, recruitment of faculty, of diverse faculty, and recruitment of students, diverse students as well.
Mhm.
Is there any, do we have that on the horizon? Maybe developing a plan on how do we address this thing, formally?
Yeah, and I think, it's not something I want to just take on by myself and create this thing, right? So I just started having a conversation with Circle Up. I mean, we just brought them in, recently to talk through HR and processes. It's really about, it's not just me. It's really, do we have a working group? Do we have a, how do we create something like that? I mean, you talk about your university doing something great. How do we move forward like this, something in our own district, and bringing the right stakeholders in and having these conversations? I think it's important. Tonight I really wanted to name the problem, show the data, and it's impactful just to see those large discrepancies.
Yeah, and you could definitely charge the new assistant soup of human resources, help out with that.
The new director of ed services, I think she's still on the call too, maybe.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
No, but we do need to make a change. I mean, it's clear just looking at our data.
So then I just wanted to add real quick, we have been doing, as part of the LCAP federal addendum process, we do have to do an educator equity audit, but it's not related to the race or ethnicity of the teacher. It's related to inexperienced or out of field teachers teaching minority or low income students. So that is something we have been tracking, and we do actually pretty well on. This would be kind of another step in that equity audit, is actually looking at those disparities and those gaps that Matthew brought up.
And I think, like I said at the beginning, I said towards the end of the presentation, Casa Grande, for some reason, there's just a large percentage of teachers who were students there. And it goes to show.
Oh, I know why.
It's such a wonderful place.
That's why.
But there, there's something happening there with conversations that are happening, bringing people into the profession. And so how do we replicate that and make that happen across the district?
And where I taught and in Shoreline Unified, I found myself becoming a colleague with several students. So they have the same thing where they tend to encourage that, and it's wonderful because those kids know the system, and well, they're not kids anymore, but so there are ways to do it.
I know there's definitely an idea out there for young people who are becoming teachers that you're not going to be allowed to teach in your own district. I don't, obviously don't know how true or not, or in the school you went to in your district, if you, so like that's just something I've heard in multiple places. So I think
that's not the case at Casa.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I already know people that I went to Casa with that are now teachers at Casa.
Yeah.
It's a trip for sure.
And I'm sure it's true that, I know we have some, in fact, we have a principal who at Petaluma High School who went to Petaluma High School. So that's not to say that it's not happening across town either. I just happen to know it was interesting when I looked at some of the data there.
That's also, tapping that pool is also a way to get more diversity within our teaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest change that has to happen is a mindset shift, and that is you have to be very intentional if you're looking to recruit, any candidate, specific candidates. You have to be intentional about it, and you have to understand that our system, and it's not unique to Petaluma, but it's because of our size, that when you have 33, 34 tiny districts around you, they can move lightning fast in the hiring process. And I was surprised when I came how slow our system was for hiring. And we were quite frankly losing candidates. I mean, literally, we would have candidates for interviews, and then they would call and say, "No, I've already accepted a position here." And so we've sped that process up considerably, but it still needs to be more targeted and more very, very directed. And Matthew and I, we could, you've had people on this call tonight that were hired because we greatly accelerated the process. One would have been Amanda Gray, and we lost some great candidates. So it's that whatever takes place in addition to the other, the strategies, it has to be a very, very intentional process that moves thoughtfully but quickly, because candidates are, there's just right now, and it's not just candidates in general. The candidate population pool is very low right now as far as folks that are out there, and the credential programs took hits because of the economic issues in the last 7 to 8 years. So, and they haven't really recovered. So they're out there. We just have to just go get them.
Like in a prior district, I was the principal of a high school, and there was 2 high schools in the district, and we were always competing every year for teachers in the same subjects. And I made the mistake of waiting for the job fair, at the university, only to find out he had one up to me. He had been going to the School of Education, participating in mock interviews. So he already knew the pool before I even saw the pool. So it was, there's things like that. There's things that we can do to be proactive, to get out there, to meet people, to see candidates sooner rather than just posting jobs and waiting. So
mock interviews is a great way to, is a great in. I remember participating in those when I was at Sonoma State, and they were great.
All right, anything else? Okay, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew.
We're gonna move on to Mr. DeGraw, the LCAP update.
Right, yes. So I know birthday boy Fischera is waiting for the consent agenda so he can have his birthday evening. So I'll make this quick. That's what I'm saying. So
happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. So wanted to give you, yes, thank you. Yeah, and you, right? That's right. Wanted to give you an update on the LCAP process so far this year. We reconvened our LCAP DLT District Leadership Team group in January, following the fall when we developed the learning continuity and attendance plan, which was kind of the placeholder this year for the LCAP. So we're now working on the LCAP for school years 2021, 2022 through 2024. And as you can imagine, normally we take a review of pertinent and relevant student achievement data, and we base our goals and our needs. Well, that was a little difficult this year. We've had a little bit of a data drought, if you will. So the first thing we did is we took a look at where did we last leave off last school year, right before this all started 13 months ago. And we tried to assess, were those needs still current? Were they still relevant? If you recall, our big focus last year at this time when we were planning our LCAP was math. So we do have a disparity between our English language arts performance and our math performance. Although our math performance is above state average and above the county average, there's like a 20-point gap between what we do in English. But as we took a closer look this year and tried to look at changed, we're in hopefully moving towards more of a post-pandemic response. Clearly our needs have changed. Our needs aren't so much based on, you know, dashboard data, but now pandemic response, learning loss, social emotional issues. So we took a more current look and updated our planning. So I just wanted to share, this was from our first meeting, and we just kind of took a look at what our needs were the last time and the gaps that we had identified in the past. And then, as I mentioned, this math goal. But we've moved on from that. So our biggest areas of need are our students with disabilities overall as a district continue to underperform. And on the dashboard, they were in the red in more than one area, specifically English language arts and math. So that is one of our focus goals, and it's very specific here. So if you can see here, this is a SMART goal. It's got a measurement, it's got a specific growth target. It's very, very detailed. So there will be some specific actions and services we develop related to this. Our second goal, actually, this is not the one I wanted to show you. I'll show you this one. This one it summarizes it a little bit better. So our first focus goal is on supporting students with disabilities, specifically in English language arts and math. And it's very specific to the dashboard and how it's measured. And we're trying to move out of the red into the orange. It doesn't translate great publicly, but it's about points below the standard level and trying to get closer to being at standard. As you can see, we are quite a bit below in math and in English. Our second goal, this was the result of our discussion with the stakeholder group and getting feedback. So this one we're calling our healthy, safe, and welcoming environment goal. It's also a focus goal. And there's a few things that kind of are encompassed in here. Obviously, equity, diversity, social emotional well-being, healthy, safe, and welcoming environments, and chronic absenteeism, K8, that's one of our K8 measures, which is another area of focus. We know that if students feel more welcome, feel safe at school, are more engaged, that they will attend more. As they attend more, they do better. So these are our two focus goals. These are very specific, and we'll have some specific actions related to them. The next two goals are what are called broad goals. So as you'll notice here, these look kind of like the old LCAP goals. They're a general statement. There's no specific targeted metric in here. So pandemic learning response, this obviously is something new to our planning process. So all students will receive high quality classroom instruction guided by assessment results, targeting individual needs to close gaps and accelerate learning. So this is perfect for an LCAP planning process because this is going to take a few years. I don't think anyone thinks that we're going to be able to fill gaps and accelerate in just 1 year. So part of the process is going to be assessing exactly where are our gaps, where has the learning loss occurred, how are we doing social emotionally. For secondary students, we'll have some very current data because both junior high and high school students participated in the Youth Truth Survey. Junior high is participating in that right now. And then goal 4 is another broad goal related to college and career readiness. All students will complete rigorous coursework and workforce experiences to graduate college and career ready. And then our last goal, this is kind of a cleanup goal. it's a maintenance goal, but we don't like these words, focus, broad, and maintenance won't appear anywhere. But we just call this conditions of learning goal. So this used to be our goal 1 in our old LCAP. All students will access updated and relevant learning environments, tools, and classroom instruction. So this is where a lot of the base required things that we do, including hiring, instructional materials, routine maintenance, a lot of those things that they don't sound really like sexy action items or anything, but they are part of the process and they are part of what we do. So we developed those 5 goals, and with our stakeholders, we used a Google Doc like this to get feedback from each of the groups. So just, where do they think we are in terms of, do they agree? Do they have other suggestions? Do they have questions? And then we would take that feedback to update or address or change any of these goals. So once we established those goals based off of our updated needs, we then got into some of the metrics we might use. How would we measure these things? So some of these are local measurements, some of these are measurements we already have, and some will be, back related to dashboard metrics as soon as we can kind of get back on track with those. So we went through that, and then at our latest meeting, I'm going to make this a little bigger. At our latest meeting, we started getting down into the nitty-gritty, which is how do we achieve these goals? What are the things we can do? What can we implement? What can we fund? What can we provide? So on the left-hand column here, these are all the existing action items in the most recent LCAP. And if I hover my mouse over it, it has the detailed, it's got the detailed narrative that's actually in the LCAP. In the column here is just kind of a brief summary. And then it has our 5 goals across the top and where these actions could live. So I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. And then we also added in here, based on our learning continuity and attendance plan, what are some actions and services we implemented this year? And where would those be? And are we gonna continue these, right? That's the question here. Which of these actions and services are gonna help us meet our new goals? And if so, where would those fit? Or not? Are we not going to continue some of these things? And then we got into at our last meeting, starting to brainstorm what are some things we can do to meet some of our goals. And these are some of the things we've identified so far. So updating the EL master plan, finishing updating the EL master plan, our history and social science curriculum adoption, which is Fair Act compliant, working with our student group to diversify our narrative, developing an improvement science work group to study our situation with students with disabilities, trying to help us identify root causes and then help us identify steps that we can implement. I'm gonna jump out on a limb here, but I'm assuming there's going to be some board interest in the development of an ethnic studies course based off of the state framework that they recently approved.
Absolutely.
And then also most recently, the health framework was updated last school year, and this is another thing that we put on for potential actions and services next year. So this isn't all inclusive. This isn't everything that we brainstormed, but this is where we are to date. So we've established goals, we've established metrics, and we've started getting into establishing what are some of those actions and services that we can do to additionally support our unduplicated students and our students where we have identified needs. So that's where we're at to date. I don't know if there's any questions. Nope. Okay, our next meeting is April 20th at 6 o'clock. So we've got a couple board members that sit on that group as well as stakeholders, but that's when our next meeting is.
Cliff, I just want to say that it's been a really good process. It was difficult at first because it was ended for like how long? 6 months or something. And then we had to jump on and try to remember what we had come up with a year before. And it's been a really interesting, the breakout groups have been really interesting. I think it was a really nice way to do it. And it was, you know.
Well, I would say, I think it's a blessing in disguise that, you know, there really wasn't much dashboard data to look at, because it made us take a step back and really think about, where are we now? What really is important now? What are our needs now? And our needs now wouldn't be on the dashboard. Right? Responding to this pandemic, responding to what our students and staff have been through and our families. So I think that helped us establish that goal 3, that pandemic response plan, which I think is more relevant.
Yeah, it feels like it's really going somewhere, that it's just more substantive in some way and not just numbers. So it's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, moving on. Comments from the public on non-agendized items. So I'm going to read our blurb. Under Government Code Section 54954.3a, members of the public have the right to address the governing board on any items of interest, providing it relates to the subject matter jurisdiction of the school district. While Government Code allows speakers to criticize the district's policies, procedures, program services, and/or employees, the district does have a policy specific to complaints against employees. Should comments from the public pertain to a specific district employee, the board requests that the complaint first be submitted in writing to the employee's immediate supervisor for investigation. If the comment is about something that is not on the agenda, it will be heard only during the public comment or non-agendized items period. Once that part of the meeting is over, comments will only be taken on agenda items during the discussion of those items. The board values public comments, and although we cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, we listen carefully and appreciate input from the public. Public comments are subject to a 4-minute per person limit or 20-minute limit per subject matter. Additionally, a public speaker can be cut off for exceeding the allotted time or for willfully causing an actual disruption to the meeting. Before cutting a person off or removing someone, the board will give at least one clear warning. If you were cut off or warned at a past meeting, please consider that your warning. You can also submit your input in writing by email or other means to the superintendent, board members, or other designated staff. Whew. Okay, so we are going to open up the chat, and this is just public comments on non-agendized items. So if you have a comment on something not on the agenda, go ahead and put your first and last name in the chat so we have it for our records and the topic.
Okay, Ashley, I think we can close the comments.
Okay, first up, we have Nicole Marzo.
Unmute. Hi, Hi, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Excellent. Hold on here. Sorry. Okay, hi everybody. So my first comment, I had two subjects. My first comment is learning loss. Curious if the district has a plan, that'll go out before summer to help students and families address the learning loss that has occurred with 40% less instructional minutes in the state of California. So I'm hoping that maybe the district can offer students and families summer schoolwork with or without instruction, so that students who choose or families who choose to make it a priority have that option and maybe help us close this achievement gap. And then my second thing is that school climate has been a passion of mine for years. I've sat on school site councils for years. I sit on the one at Petaluma High. Parents have been emailing Petaluma High for weeks, asking, if they can put together graduation things, asking about getting school spirit together to welcome kids on campus, and they get no response. Nobody responds to them, or people say, we can't do anything. So as a school climate chair or cheerleader, that does not create good school climate. It looked like at Grant School, they had posters up welcoming kids and, food for teachers, and that's positive, right? People are so happy to see each other back at school. Kids are crying. That's like positive. So I'm just putting a plug in there for school climate. I think the district as a whole, I can't speak to other schools at this moment, but I think it's something, I know it's been on school site plans all the time, school climate, right? It goes into everything. It goes into inclusion. It goes into bullying. It goes into everything. A good school climate is a welcoming school climate. So I think we could do a better job at that. And I'm happy to help. I don't want to be the person who always logs in and gives you issues and does not offer to put my oar in the water to help. So thank you very much for your time. Okay, how do I leave? Sorry.
Okay, next up we have Sarah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So nice to see you. I've missed you for so many weeks. I have a handful of things I wanted to check in with you about. First of all, I wanted to, on behalf of Tide and myself, I wanted to welcome and dar bienvenidos a Esmeralda Sanchez Mosley and on your new position. Congratulations to Jason Sutter. We look forward to working with you. Regarding diversified hiring practices, I'm really eager to hear about how we are planning to not only diversify the hiring practices, but also how the district plans to support the teachers and staff when they are in the district. Affinity groups, coaching, any sort of mentorship program in regards to that, and I will get to it later, how we can address how teachers and staff can be trained and have professional development days and understand how that it is their responsibility to report racism and issues of inequities and inequalities in our schools. I think that's really important, that we need to do it on all levels, on sites, with staff, with the administration. It needs to come down, it needs to come from the board level to the teacher level to the family level and everywhere in between. I also wanted to note that diversity also includes people in the LGBTQI and disabled communities, not just teachers and staff of color. And I think that we need to have those metrics looked at as well. I think that the academic numbers, thank you, Matthew, for putting that together. And our academic numbers are not the only important data that we have, but I had the opportunity to attend the Youth Truth Survey information that was given on Friday, and I'm going back again this coming Friday. It was really, really vital and important for us to know that 34% of our students in Sonoma County feel like they belong, which is 10% below the national average. That less than half of the students in Sonoma County feel supported, and a third of them feel like they have an adult that they can go talk to, that they can reach out to. Given these numbers and how stark they are, it is really important that we need to have our relationships be uplifted within our adults within the students. The relationships are requisite for rigor. They are requisite for our students to thrive. And I understand that our counseling program and our counselors in the district have somewhere between 300 to 400 students in their caseload. And I cannot imagine how that kind of a caseload would allow for students to feel as though they are supported and have someone they can talk to when they maybe get 10 minutes a quarter to discuss with somebody. I don't know, Joanna, you are in counseling, you would know directly how that is and whether or not you're able to like really get in touch with them. I think that those numbers of a third of the kids, 34% of the students feel that they belong and that they have someone that they can talk to. That's a crazy amount to me. And the students are speaking, and we need to listen to them. We need to hire more counselors. We need to hire bilingual counselors, ones that are culturally competent and understand what's going on in each of our campuses, not just the campuses that have any sort of need. I wanted to also reiterate that we need to address how teachers and staff can understand that it is their responsibility to report racism and issues of inequity at as much important as it is to be a mandated reporter in regards to abuse in families. And how do we make that happen? And we urge the district—
about 10 seconds, Sarah.
Thank you. We urge the district to develop and provide professional development and training outside of Circle Up and the Stop It Act to give direct, specific skills in this realm. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to working with you all in the LCAP and here on forward. You all rock.
Thank you. Next up, we have Sumaya.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. First thing I just want to start off by saying I noticed in the video, which was really sweet and it really brought tears to my eyes, those children in the beginning were just saying that they wanted to be back in school. They were so excited and happy to be back. They wanted to see their teachers. They wanted to be in those classrooms. And I really hope that this board and everyone is listening to that. With our county numbers and the number of vaccines that have been put out in our county and in this state, our schools at this point should be offering full-time classes. These children are begging for this. There's no reason why we can't offer that at this point. Parents, including myself, are so thankful to all of the hard work that our teachers have put forth with this distance learning. We understand that that put a workload on them that's probably more than what they do in the classroom. And the situation that put on them was so hard. And at this point, our children need to catch up. We're all talking about that right now. You're talking about they need to catch up. Why wait? Why not start now? We can start catching up these children that have fallen behind, that are not logging on to Zoom, that are not following the curriculum. We can put them back into a classroom and start catching them up now, full time. Private schools are doing this. There's no reason that our schools and the public schools can't be doing this right now. It's hard to believe that we're not following the science. We're not following what the governor, the president, what all of these people are saying to do to open our schools full time. At this point, we've got some great numbers. We're almost in the yellow tier. There's no reason that our schools should not be open for full time for those who want to be in school. These children are begging for it. We've lost too many children for emotional reasons to suicide to not be listening to these children at this point. It's unreasonable for high school students to only be going to school 2 days a week for 3 hours a day. It's unreasonable. They're not catching up. We're talking about getting children back in school and trying to catch them up, but we're going to be graduating a whole slew of classes that still need to actually catch up. That's unfair. That's leaving children behind. We're not supposed to be doing that as parents, as teachers, as educators. That's not fair to the whole slew of children. So I really hope that you guys really take a look at this and say, okay, maybe not this week, maybe first week of May, that we can rethink this and maybe start them full time and say, okay, we can get this together by then and start getting them in full time to start the catch up now instead of over the summer. Our children deserve this. Our teachers deserve a break from having to do a ton more work than what they've had to. Distance learning is not the answer. It should have never been the answer, but we had to at this point. We can get out of it now. Let's listen to the kids. They're begging for
You have
it.
about 10 seconds, Simaya.
Thank you. I really hope you guys hear it. I hope you guys listen to the kids, and I thank you for all your work.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Phoebe Ellis.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everyone. I did send an email earlier in the week to the board and superintendent. So I just want to reiterate my concern that an update to hybrid learning or return to school is not included in tonight's agenda. I'm not really sure why there would not be an update on each meeting going forward of what's going on as far as hybrid learning, return to school, distance learning. It is the most important thing in any parent's lives right now, as well as teachers, staff, and most of all the students. I much appreciated the grant school principal's presentation tonight, and thank goodness she did that, because the board, there was nothing on the agenda that gave us an insight into what was going on upon returning to school. So that was much appreciated. It would have been great to see some pictures from all of the elementary schools who went to in-person yesterday. An opportunity to highlight the hard work that everyone's been working on at the district, to highlight students, families, teachers, staff. So again, I would just hopefully in upcoming board meetings, there will be an update included at the beginning of the agenda, because many parents listen, but they don't want to wait till the end of the meeting to have to hear about how their kids are going to learn or what they're going to learn or when they're going to go back to school. I think it's important to include it at the beginning of the agenda. So I would just appreciate that moving forward. Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to Maite.
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Matthew, for the workforce diversity PowerPoint. It is so excellent. I think many of us have been awaiting that, and it was so well done. So thank you. I have a big concern, which I believe Joanna touched on and has brought up, is how do we support the teachers and staff and diversified folks once they are in? How do we incentivize or create learning groups so that we are retaining these teachers? My second comment for this evening is that I am wanting to work with anyone, all of you. There is a direct pipeline. It exists with Sonoma State. I work for the School of Education. I work with student teachers. All of my student teachers have already been hired for next year, so I cannot give you those people. But moving forward, this exists. Sonoma State has a Puerta project where we work with Santa Rosa Junior Community College, and we are creating this pipeline. So I'm happy to work with whomever would like to work. Let's do that. Let's like get into CASA whenever. I'm waiting 1 more week till my 2 weeks of the vaccine or whatever that is, and I can step on school grounds. And I'm very excited because this is something that already exists. We have residency programs. Santa Rosa City Schools, that's what they do. It's already an incentive that is coming up. So I'm happy to work with whomever is the right person to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Maite.
Okay, thank you, Maite. I believe that was our last public comment on that section. So we are going to move on to the consent agenda. So, oh no, I'm wrong. Report on activities and correspondence of school board members. Again, most of these happened on Zoom, but over the past 5 weeks, we attended the reopening webinars, TIDE meeting, LCAP, Sonoma County Black Forum, Sonoma County NAACP, legislative visits with Senator McGuire and Assemblyman Levine, the CASA government class, the SCO Youth Truth Data Discovery webinar, Zoom meeting with the Electricians Union, SRJC Black Student Union, PCRC meeting, which I think is Petaluma Community Relations, is that right? The Arts Alliance and Mary Collins Cherry Valley site visit. So that's a lot over that time. So, all right, comments from the public on the consent agenda items. So we're going to reopen the chat, and if anyone has a comment on the consent agenda items, go ahead and put your first and last name in the chat and what you would like to speak towards. Gary, I'll let you decide when to close the chat. You muted, Gary. Are you saying to close the chat?
Yeah, Ashley, we can close the consent now.
Okay. All right. So we don't have anyone who wants to comment on the consent agenda. So we'll move on. Adoption and approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I need to move to pull the purchase warrants off of the consent agenda so I can abstain.
What item is that?
I just wrote in my notes warrant. So I don't have a printer. I'm a millennial. I can't print.
10.2.4.
Okay.
2.4.
Purchase orders or warrants?
Are you making a motion to pull that? I'm sorry, Ellen, you were saying something?
I was just wondering, would that be voted on separately then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you making a motion to pull that from the?
Yes, I moved to pull that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Now you got to go for the approval of the.
Yeah, I moved to approve the amended consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any comments, questions?
Now you want to do it. Someone needs to do a motion on 10.2.4.
Just, I have one question about the consent agenda.
Okay.
It's only that on the audit report, that's what we're talking about now, right? Or Caitlin's?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure to be clear that it's the audit is from the June 2020 budget that was based on the May revise.
It's already outdated, yeah.
So so it was like, it's completely, that was when everything was just awful.
So the audit report is as of June 30th, 2020.
Yeah.
And it was actually how we closed the books for 2020. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the May revise. It is coming about 3 months later, and that's because due to COVID-19, they extended the deadline when the fiscal audit, financial audits are due. But this is closing the books. They're them validating our closing process for 2019-20, not 2021.
No, I know that. That's what I just wanted to be clear about that.
Yes.
But
yes.
So, but was this, so then this was based on, I thought it was based, since it was June 2020, that it was based on 10% across the board cuts and the most drastic.
No, but that was the budget. So this is how we
Yeah.
closed for 2019-20.
Okay.
So it's the final audit. So it's just reflecting the final dollars for last year. It's
Okay.
confusing because we usually bring
Yeah.
it in January. And so we're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
But
just
you're
wanted to
right.
clarify that.
Yeah, no, the May revise included 10% reductions for 2021 that were undone in the 45-day budget.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Sorry, I spoke too soon. Did you guys have any questions about the other items besides 10.2.4? No.
I think
Okay.
you're actually on to 10.2.4. You need to get a motion.
Okay.
To ratify the warrant register 10.2.4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Okay.
Yeah, definitely don't oppose. But.
All right. Moving on. Comments from the public on action items. So again, we'll open the chat. If you have a comment on one of the action items, go ahead and put your first and last name in the chat and what you would like to speak about.
Okay, Ashley, you can close the action item.
Okay, so we don't have any comments from the public on that, so we will move on to action items. First up is approval of resolution 2021 to 20-24, condemning acts of anti-Asian American Pacific Islander violence.
I move the motion.
Second.
I appreciate Caitlin and Sheldon for writing this.
And for
Can
Frank,
we read it into the record?
Yes. I think that's a great idea.
Caitlin or Sheldon, do you want to read it?
Sure. And thanks also to Frank Chong, who and to you, Joanna, for encouraging us to do this, and of course Caitlin for really putting it together. Resolution of the Board of Education of Petaluma City Elementary and Petaluma Joint Union High School Districts of the County of Sonoma, State of California, condemning acts of anti-Asian American Pacific Islander violence. Whereas Asian American Pacific Islander students comprise 3.7% of Petaluma City School student population and 4.1% of its employee workforce. And whereas AAPI community members have been a part of the rich ethnic diversity of Sonoma County and have contributed greatly to the economic and cultural vibrancy of the region. And whereas the AAPI population has faced historical and structural racism in both Sonoma County and the United States. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has been falsely blamed on the AAPI population. And whereas the number of AAPI hate crimes has increased in the United States and the Bay Area. And whereas AAPI students and their allies have voiced their recent experiences with anti-AAPI racism in our classrooms and our campuses. And whereas Petaluma City Schools values the full diversity of its students, families, and staff, and actively fosters an environment of inclusion and equity, now therefore be it resolved that the Petaluma City Schools Board of Trustees condemns the acts of anti-AAPI violence across the country and locally, and therefore be it further resolved that Petaluma City School Board of Trustees stands in solidarity with AAPI students, staff, and community members, and commits to educating our students on the histories of racism against the AAPI community, while uplifting and celebrating the contributions of the AAPI communities of past, present, and future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job, you guys.
Yeah,
Hearing it
very
again
well
out
done.
loud. Yeah.
Very,
Good job.
thank you
Powerful.
for reading it. That was perfect.
Yeah, powerful.
All right. All in favor?
Definitely I.
Aye. Okay, moving on. 12.1.2, compensation increase management and confidential.
So we're recommending a salary distribution compensation increase that's consistent with what we've done so far with the Petaluma Federation of Teachers, which is equivalent to a 2%. It will not be an across the board recommendation. It'll be based on trying to deal with some structural issues, but it won't be more than the 2% or approximately $150,000. So we'll be our plan will be to bring back revised contract salary schedules, not to exceed that at the next board meeting, but to get approval so we can move forward and start putting those together.
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item 12.1.3, resolution 21 to 25, sorry, -25. Honoring the contributions of teachers to quality education and declaring the week of May 3rd through 7th, 2021 as the week of the teacher. You want to talk about this, Matthew?
I do. Yes. Sorry, 1 second. Let me bring it up. So this one for Week of the Teacher for the week of May 3rd through the 7th. Whereas California Education Code Section 37222 sets aside the second Wednesday in May as the Day of the Teacher and encourages suitable commemorative exercises directing attention to teachers and the teaching profession. Whereas the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Schools, City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts has the utmost respect and admiration for Petaluma's professional teachers who have dedicated their lives and their talents to the education of our students, who are truly our most precious and important resource. Whereas the Board of Education recognizes the truly vital role of teachers in realizing the vision of the California State Board of Education for California Public Education, all California students of the 21st century will attain the highest level of academic knowledge, applied learning, and performance skills to ensure fulfilling personal lives and careers and contribute to civic and economic progress in our diverse and changing democratic society. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary School District and the Petaluma Joint Union High School District hereby proclaims the week of May 3rd through the 7th, 2021, the week of the teacher, extending its sincere appreciation to the teachers in the districts who make our public schools successful.
It should be a year of the teacher.
I was going to say the same thing, you know.
Absolutely.
You guys have been amazing.
A week
Truly
doesn't seem like
inspirational.
enough.
Yeah. Especially now doing simultaneous, for those of you doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the district is incredible, but right now, teachers for sure.
Absolutely impressive.
At least
I don't know if I could have taught distance learning. I mean, I've been retired for a while, so I really, really admire everything that they've done. The distance learning piece has been incredible, and I thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve this resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to comments from the public on discussion/information items. So again, Gary, I'll let you decide when to close the chat. But same as before, put your first last name in the chat and what you would like to speak towards, even though there's only one item.
Probably not too many people want to talk about the Williams Act, so we're going to close the discussion on that.
It's so exciting.
All right. So is this you, Matthew?
Sure. So Williams settlement, this is a quarterly report that we produce to ensure that we have adequate instructional materials, teacher vacancy, that we don't have misassignments, facilities. And it's really around McKinley School, which is on the Williams list. And there were 0 misassignments, 0 complaints. Everything was, everything's in order. So that's it.
Cool.
It appears that the Williams quarterly report seems to come up almost every meeting. I'm not sure that's, I don't know if it's just me, but
Feels like it.
it's not quarterly. It seems to be the Williams monthly report. So,
Or bi-monthly.
yeah.
All right, moving on. Look at us, it's only 8 o'clock. Future business.
I have a couple things. I would like to, and I could probably get someone to do this presentation about the connection between the arts and social emotional learning. I sit on the Arts Alliance, and that's been a lot of discussion, and I would really like for us to hear about that connection. And
Do you want to invite someone to come to speak?
Yeah, I can do that.
Want to do that? Okay.
Yeah,
and then we can, you contact me and we'll look at some dates.
Okay.
That work.
Okay, and I also would like to add social emotional learning and the addition of counselors to our special meeting in May.
That's what I was going to ask for.
And then I have one more, and then I'll shut up. And this is something I've asked for before, and it's probably going to dump on Cliff, and I'm sorry. But talking about diversifying our narrative, I'd really like to see an audit of not just what's in our libraries, but what's in teacher libraries, what authors are being read and discussed in both ELA and social studies classes. I don't know if that's kind of a heavy lift or not, but I think that kind of, that's become a focus with Diversify Our Narrative, and I think that's some important information to have.
So why don't you come up, Ellen, why don't you come up with some, as a starter, survey type of questions that you would want.
Okay.
And we could do it as a survey.
I can do that.
Of those teachers, and then send it to me and Cliff.
All right.
Perfect.
So now I have homework.
Yeah.
You know, I just have
I
have a suggestion to add to that. If you're going to do the survey, to add a question about the budget for purchasing new books.
Maddie, you want to work on the survey with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we get it right, exactly what you want asked, and then it'll go well.
Okay, let's work on that together.
Okay, that'd be great.
Oh, look at the 2 English teachers. I love it. All right, Maddie.
Okay, I got a couple of things. I had the same thing that I'd really like, since we have 3 hours, I think we're scheduled for the study session. I just really want to get on this, talking about mental health services, increasing counseling services, and discussing it, you know, in a substantive time frame, you know. And kind of also, I think at that time, we'd need to also have some sense of the new monies coming in from the feds and from the state for social emotional learning, recovery. And I think this is going to be over, years. I think it's going to take a long time for everybody. So that was also what I was thinking of. I would like to possibly talk about if we're going to have another community forum this summer. If you guys wanted to have it, if we want to put it off a while, or not knowing what the situation is in terms of big meetings, but it would be really nice to have another one. So just to put that on the, and then the other thing kind of
Maddie,
came up. Yeah.
Before we go on that one, community forum, similar to what we were
goals.
Where we developed our goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll reach out to WA and Old Adobe as well, because
That would be great.
We've started initial conversations with that, and I can pass that through with Matthew to them, because I think I think that's the one piece that probably was missing from our other one, is we didn't have some of our elementary partners, our other elementary partners.
Yeah,
Well,
it would be really important that we're all on the same page with the
yeah, it was like conceived of for our goal to how to get community input to develop our own goals.
Right.
But it was called the Petaluma Community Forum. And I think I agree. I think it's time to bring in all of Petaluma, especially with and also students, to really recruit. We had some pretty powerful students there, and they contributed what we're doing now in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Oh, Cliff, this is, I thought I was done, but I emailed the woman who led the Youth Truth survey on Friday, and I asked her if there was a way to pull out the Petaluma City School stuff, because our issues may not be the same as Santa Rosa. And she said I to go through you. So I'm just throwing.
Yeah, we have that.
We do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we have our own information, our own responses.
Yeah, our high schools did it in, I think, January, and we have their results, and then the junior highs are doing it right now, and we will get our results as well.
Can we see, is there a way for us to see that?
Yeah, I could share that with all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Maddie, I think I interrupted you. You were on a roll.
Oh, it's been a month. I think it kind of came to mind when the CSBA sent out, I guess it was Gina Kuklas sent out a new climate change resolution, climate action resolution, kind of that the county and the CSBA was doing, and wanted input. And Sheldon, of course, came up with really, I thought, things that I'd been thinking about also, but he put it really well about, that and about building in environmental literacy K through 12. And, how do we do that? How do we do it in diverse subjects, rather than just in having it in science, of course, but social studies, humanities, and possibly even electives, and how to really build in this climate action through environmental literacy. We talked a lot about it, I know, Cliff, in our LCAPs. So in our LCAP meetings, I think it's really important. We also have to talk about professional development. So all these things together, I looked over our climate resolution that was from 2018, and I just would like to revise it. I'd like to see it updated with these things in it, to add a more consistent and comprehensive approach to this resolution that we really, I know, all feel pretty strongly about, and then really making it something that happens in our schools. And that's it.
Hey, Maddie, I'm not aware of this past resolution. Maybe you and I can revisit it and maybe think about some amendments.
Perfect. Okay. I tried to find it online. on our website, and I couldn't find it, but I did have it in my files. So so anyway, we can do that.
Hey, Sheldon,
I'm good.
Caitlin. You're muted, girl.
I know, nothing that hasn't been brought up.
Yeah, you guys have brought up some great things. I also wanted to add, I see that we have it on for the next meeting, the menstrual products. I'm just hoping that that'll be brought on as an action item, just to get that approved. I know Caitlin brought it up over 2 years ago.
It was one of the first things you brought up.
Yeah,
I was about
great.
to say, how have we been here over 2 years?
You were one of your first
over 4
items.
Some of us, yeah.
And I mean, we know that period poverty is real. There's students who miss school all the time because they can't afford menstrual products at school. So, you know, we want to continue to removing barriers to attendance. And so that one seems like a no-brainer. So thank you again, Caitlin. And so again, it's on the agenda. I'm just hoping that we can bring that as an action item, as well as this has been brought up before as well, counselor positions for the K-8 schools. I mean, if we want that to happen for next school year, I don't know if I'm like going around or whatever the process, but even bringing that as an action item for next, I don't know if like what the full process is, but
Would it be
getting that
helpful,
going.
Joanna, for us to bring back some cost estimates of what that would look like, so we have an idea?
Yeah. And then an action item.
But
to go along with
there's cost estimates, and those are, I guess those are important, but the need for counseling, especially at the K-8 schools, is, especially academic counseling, is overwhelming. It's a huge need. We have 2 schools, McKinley and Cherry Valley, that have a middle school attached to them, and they have no academic counseling at all. And they do at the other junior highs. So cost estimates are of course important, but I just think that this is an important issue that goes beyond cost.
So what we can also do, because we're going to be presenting to the Budget Advisory Committee, actually how the charters look, Pengrove, Cherry Valley, and PAX, with the regard to, are they operating in the black? Are they deficit spending? And I think, especially when you look at the charters in particular, we need to look at their overall fiscal health to make those types of prioritizations. And so I would suggest that we could bring back both, so that we have an idea of how does Cherry Valley look? How does PAX look? Can they afford the wherewithal of adding that type of expense? And if not, I totally agree, Ellen, but then what's the offset?
Yeah, I know after speaking with both principals, that that's something that they really feel the need for, even if they share one position for both.
right, like a 0.5 split. Chris, can we set up a meeting maybe this week or next week just to talk about
Sure,
that?
I would, yeah, we definitely can set up a meeting next week. We're trying to get through Monday's opening, but then after that, absolutely.
I would like to be part of that meeting as well.
Sure.
Inviting yourself to my meetings. Okay.
That's right. Well, it's a pretty thing.
Okay. And then
We'll
also
advocate for it everywhere.
I emailed some of you guys about this. I know we have Spanish language access. Some of us, along with Matthew, were at the Asian Solidarity Vigil over the 5-week break, and it was expressed that a lot of our AAPI community members feel very isolated within just in Petaluma, but especially in the school systems. So if we could look at some point, I know, Chris, there is a cost. So let's look at like how much that would cost and what our different options are to providing more than just Spanish, because we do know that there are other languages spoken in homes in PCS.
Or
After Spanish, do we know what the highest monolingual household language is?
That's a great question. We should know, don't we, through our language surveys that they fill out every year?
Yeah, we've got all the language data. The question, I guess I'm not clear. We're providing what? Are we, are we looking to provide, when we say access, what are we talking about access, communication access, like day-to-day parent for parents? Are we talking about courses? Are we talking, I think I want to make sure that everybody understands what we're looking at.
Well, I was thinking about, at least for board meetings, maybe to get more parent
so-
involvement. We always talk about parent involvement.
Like translation, communication, you're talking about literal communication access.
Right. But then
I
also,
just wanted to make sure, I knew that, but I wanted to make sure that people weren't thinking that we were talking about a specific world language addition to a high school curriculum, which is very different, which is a very different thing. So,
but I mean, since you bring it up, does Parent Square translate into someone's home language?
Yes.
yes, but I don't know the details. We can bring back, we can do something on Parent Square, some kind of presentation on that as well.
Okay.
Quick thing. Either that or we'll do it on a Friday letter. So I got down that we want to look at options for expanding communication access, or at least our delivery of our communications out to our families. We'll start with that.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Totally makes sense.
I mean, I have more. It has been 5 weeks. These could be, I mean, again, these all don't have to obviously happen the next meeting, but I think Sheldon, did you bring up like a DEI plan? Who brought up a DEI plan?
Yeah.
Sheldon. Yeah, just, I don't know, talking about that. How do we develop that out? What does that look like for our district? What's the best way to go about it? Through Circle Up, through another means? And then as well as continuing like Circle Up, or just these types of training should not just be a 1 year. Like we need to continue these, be it through Circle Up or through someone else.
Yeah, this is supposed to be only the first phase.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is just year 1.
Okay, cool. And then it was brought up again in Cliff's presentation. We've talked about this before. The math supports, you know, we're seeing the gaps. A parent commented on getting kids caught up over the summer. But just in general, like, what are we doing to support kids in math? Like, this has just been an issue for so long, and the gaps been great for so long. Like, what is our plan, like, to actually address it? Do we need to change the types of math support classes we have? Like, what do we need? Do we need more sections of it? What are like the tangible things?
I think that the question related to, there's a 2-part question related to that. One is a larger question related to the math curriculum, but the part that will come back first will be what specifically are we doing with learning loss mitigation dollars to mitigate, in this case, mathematics. And I think that there are I think there's an opportunity here to use some of the learning loss mitigation monies to try a couple of different things and see which one seems to connect and resonate the most with the student learner. There's some things that are out there that people are doing that, or at least planning to do with their learning loss mitigation. And that's some of the areas that we're looking at.
And I think those, Gary, you're right on track. I think some of those federal dollars that are coming out to address the learning loss, we're going to have to do a whole plan for. And to your question about counselors, you know, I think that certainly the mental health component is going to be a huge component that these funds are targeted for. I don't know about academic counseling. We could certainly look at it through that lens as far as next year goes. But I think the learning loss mitigation plan that we're going to have to pull together may be a good place to start for some of these more specific concerns that you're raising, and how to fund them, at least for the next year or so.
Mm-hmm.
That was my idea initially. Weren't we talking about having something, this was a while ago, having math specialists like we have reading specialists at the elementary schools? I don't even know whether they exist. I just
No.
remember that was
I think
brought
that was
up.
at LCAP. That was
We didn't
brought up.
really
Was
talk
that an
about it
LCAP?
here.
That might
Yeah.
have been an LCAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The math has been the challenge, throughout the state. It's been really and there's a lot of pieces. There's not going to be one magic silver bullet, but definitely, we know that when the students get into the higher mathematics, particularly when they get into integrated courses, that's where the rubber meets the road. And those students that have resources at their disposal use tutors and get tutor support. And those students that don't are put in an inequitable situation. And we know that study halls, like the traditional after-school study halls, have not been as effective as a model as other approaches.
I think
we know
that's
tutoring
why-
works. It's worked for years.
I think
It's
that's
expensive.
why that's why I like your idea of inviting our feeder elementaries to the study session, because I mean they get to the secondary,
Right.
and we don't know what's happening K6.
Right.
So
Has there been a drop since Common Core math was introduced? Just out of
Yes.
curiosity, and that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, the comment, because it's the standards have been upped by what used to be honors is now the basic program. So for example, Math 8 is equivalent to what we used to call honors Math 8. But you also are dealing with that it becomes integrated when you get, and so you're expected to be able to, integrate the multiple subjects or within just mathematics and be able to apply it. So it's a lot of applied mathematics. And so, or, as what some people might call word problems, it's more than word problems, but it's the application portion of it is where students struggle. And it doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, if you don't know when to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And so there is a base that kids have to come in with going into 7th grade, or they fall behind very quick, and it's very difficult to make that up.
okay, if there's nothing else, we will move on. Nothing to report at a closed session. And I think that's it. We're adjourned
Awesome.
before 8:30.
Right.
Yes. All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Night.
Good night.